This is a mini help video on the topic of functions. So first question's reasonably straightforward as functions go. Okay, so the first question says, given that fx is equal to x minus 4, find f brackets 5. In that case, you literally just need to come to the statement, change the x to open brackets, 4, and because the value is 5 there, 5 is going inside the bracket, so we get literally just 5 take away 4, which is 1. Okay? For the next question, we get exactly the same sort of idea. Let me just focus that so it's looking nice and easy to see. And it's literally just going to be 3 take away 4, which is minus 1. Okay? So nothing too hard with the first one. It starts to get a little bit trickier now. G of x, so just a new function, is equal to 2x squared minus 10. So nothing's changed here to how we're going to start this off. We're going to change the x just for open brackets. Okay? That's all I've done to begin with. And then because the value that I want to put in is 2 and not x, I just put in 2 there. BidMass tells me to do 2 squared first, which is 4. So I'm going to have 2 lots of 4 and then take away 10. 2 lots of 4 is 8, and then 8 take away 10 is minus 2. Okay? Same idea for the next one. We get 2 lots of minus 2 squared minus 10. Now, in terms of having to go through all of that, I know it's going to be minus 2 because minus 2 squared is also 4, and then it's just the rest of that working. So I can just confidently go and write in minus 2 there. Okay? Finally, this one here, it says g of x equals 8. How do we solve that? Well, you're told an expression for what g of x is. G of x is the same thing as writing that thing there. 2x squared minus 10. So I'm going to change that, g of x there, to just 2x squared minus 10. So 2x squared minus 10 equals 8. Rearrange and solve. If I add 10 to each side, I get 2x squared equals 18. Divide each side by 2, I get x squared equals 9. Careful with the last bit. The square root of 9 is obviously the opposite of squaring, but it always comes with a plus and a minus, just as we saw here. Minus 2 squared gives 4, as does 2 squared give 4. So what we do is write x equals plus or minus 3, or you could write it as x equals minus 3, comma, x equals 3. Okay, either of those would be acceptable. Okay then, over the page, we have, it says question 5, but obviously it's the third question here. You've not missed any questions, okay? So it says, given that f of x equals 2x minus 4 and g of x equals 3x plus 5, find g of f of 3. Now, very, very easy to get confused with this question, okay? So this is how I solve them. I literally write out exactly what I've just been told, and then you put brackets around the last thing that happened. So the last thing that happened was this f of 3 bit here, okay? So this g bracket will stay exactly the same. So g bracket, and then I'm going to sub 3 into f. So that means I'm going to do 2 times 3, and then I will take away 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 take away 4 is 2. So really it's asking me to find g of 2. So g of 2 would be 3 brackets plus 5, and then 2, from that answer there, would go in here. 3 times 2 is, I should say an equals rather than a colon, 6. 6 take away 5 is, 6 plus 5, well corrected, is 11. Okay? This one here, this is what we call an inverse function. So it says f minus 1x, okay? So this is what we call an inverse function if you're unsure of what it is, okay? So if you're here watching the video going, I've got no idea what an inverse function is, it's probably a good idea for you to go and do a bit of research into what this is for GCSE, okay? Now the way that you solve or work out an inverse function is we take what f of x is here, but we just literally write it firstly as y equals 2x minus 4. The next thing that we do is we literally just swap the y and the x coordinates over. We just switch them to each other. Okay, so it becomes 2y minus 4. The next thing I do now to find the inverse function is I want to get y as the subject of the formula. So the first thing I'll do is add 4 to each side. So I get x plus 4 equals 2y, and then I'll divide both sides by 2 to get x plus 4 all over 2 equals y. That is what we call my inverse function. So I just say, therefore, f minus 1 of x, and I just drop the y back for f, but this time with a minus 1, would equal x plus 4 all over 2. Okay? Finally, it says, on this question, f of x equals g of x. So we know that f of x is 2x plus 4, and we know that g of x is 3x plus 5. Well, it wants them put equal to each other. So I just say 2x minus 4. Sorry, it's those two things up there. 2x minus 4 equals 3x plus 5. Okay, so I've literally just taken those guys from there and just written them in here. Okay, so that's where they've come from. Now it's just solving an equation. I need to get x by itself. So the way I'd start this is getting rid of the smallest x from each side. That's 2x. Take it from each side. They're gone, leaving with minus 4 here is equal to x and then plus 5 here. I've nearly solved this equation now because it's just in terms of x, but I need to get rid of the plus 5. So I'm going to take 5 off each side. Take away 4, take away 5, leaves me with minus 9 is equal to x. So x equals minus 9. Okay, final question. Easily the fussiest one, and there's a good reason why this one's last. It is fussy, okay? So we're told, given that f of x equals 3x plus 1 and g of x equals x squared, find f of g of x. So again, same as last time, I'm going to write f g of x. So what I do now is put brackets around the second bit. So this is going to become f of, now this time, I haven't got numbers going into that, so I literally just go and take what g of x is. G of x is the same as writing x squared. So it's just f of x squared. So now, to solve this, I come to f, so I'd write it as 3 brackets and then plus 1 there. Okay? What goes into it? Well, whatever's in the bracket here. So the value that goes into it is just x squared. So the x has changed to x squared. This becomes 3x squared plus 1. So that's my answer. Okay? The next question says, work out an expression for g of f of x. You might be forgiven for thinking, I've literally just done that. But look at the question. fg, gf. It's changed order, okay? So exactly the same thing again. I'll write it out. I'll go and put brackets around the last bit. I'll then put g, and inside the bracket goes f of x. So f of x is 3x plus 1, so that's going to go inside of that bracket. And then coming back to what g of x is, x squared, I change the x for open brackets and a squared. Inside the open brackets is going what's inside this bracket, which is 3x plus 1. Okay? So my answer would be 3x plus 1 squared. You can actually go and expand that if you want, but we tend to think it looks a bit neater, factorised like this. Next and final question says, can you solve fg of x, so what we worked out in part A, so this thing, equal to what we worked out in part B, so gf of x, which was this thing. Okay? So, I'm going to put 3x squared plus 1 equals 3x plus 1 squared. Actually, I'm not going to write squared. I'm going to times it by itself so I can start to expand it, okay? Because that's what squared means. It means times by itself. It wants me to solve this. So I now need to expand out these brackets to get 9x squared. I'm using something called FOIL here. I'm just doing it in my head. I'm going to get plus 3x plus another 3x. And then I'm going to get plus 1. From here, I get 3x squared plus 1 equals 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. To solve a quadratic, which is what this is, because we've got an x squared, an x and a number, we look for the smallest x squared, which is 3x squared, and we're going to take it off each side. And I'm also going to take away the 1 from each side, which should leave me with nothing. To get a quadratic, we need to get it 0 equal, so you look for the smaller of the x squared and get everything onto the other side. 9x squared, take away 3x squared, would be 6x squared. There's nothing happening to the x's, so the plus 6 is there, but then plus 1 minus 1 is gone. Finally, I can factorise, seeing that 6x is common in both, so that would be x plus 1. These two things are times into each other, so either, to make an answer where two numbers times to each other and get 0, either 6x equals 0 or x plus 1 equals 0. To solve from there, divide both sides by 6. 0 divided by 6 is still 0, so x equals 0 is one of my solutions. Take away 1 from each answer, gives x equals minus 1 as the other solution. Thank you very much for watching.